Okay, part 10 in our series on awakening the Jewish spirit, following the signs. Please go back and check out the other 9 parts in order to catch up on everything that we've been talking about. But essentially, we're working hard on following what we call the Jewish signs, which are ways that we can increase and connect our Jewish identity across both our personal, individual religious lives, our sense of connection to Jewish people, to the Jewish land, Eretz Yisrael, and all sorts of other ways that can impact our day-to-day life. So we've covered number 1, sign number 1. You can go back and learn all about it. It helped us get deeper to our connection and our relationship with Brit Milah, which is circumcision, but really circumcision, of course, extremely important in Judaism, but it pointed us to covenant, this idea that we're in a covenant with God. And what does that mean? We're also in a covenant with the Jewish people and with the land and with the Torah. And all of those parts of Jewish identity are crucial. And it's so important to be connected to that in order to live a vibrant and rich Jewish life. So we're going to get into sign number 2 today. With sign number 2, it's just going to be one part. The other one had 3 parts because we had to go through big concepts and try to connect with them on a both deep and practical level. Today, how Jews live with faith, Emunha. So let's start. Number 2. The second mitzvah that's also called an in the Torah is the of Tefillin. Tefillin. I think it's called phylacteries in English. It's weird. These words that we translate, tassels for the tzitzit, we'll get into those, the tzitzit, tassels, and phylacteries. We don't use those in any other language, like with ahava, which is love, we say love. But for some reason, the tefillin and the tzitzit become the phylacteries and the tassels. So the second the second command, which is also a sign, is tefillin. We're also not going to get too much into the content of what is in the tefillin. We'll talk a little bit about that, but basically there's the mitzvah of tefillin. Jewish men typically put them on. People used to wear them all day. It's just that we can't keep the consciousness that we're expected, the type of thinking and the type of devekas or connection to God and spirituality that we're supposed to have, because you're not supposed to think about other things. You're not supposed to pass gas, all sorts of stuff around putting on your tefillin. So the mitzvah of tefillin actually predates the Mount Sinai revelation. It's one of the mitzvot that were given on the cusp of leaving Egypt. It says, "V'yalecha al yadecha," it shall be a sign on your hand, "ulezikaron beineinecha," and it should be a memory or memorial between your eyes. "Leman tiyeh Toras Hashem beficha," so the Torah of Hashem can be on your mouth. "Ki beyad chazaka hotziacha Hashem mimitzrayim," with a mighty and a strong hand Hashem took you out of Egypt. So, without getting into all the different parshiot that are actually in these tefillin boxes, the bottom line is the idea of putting words of wisdom and things that we need to remember, core concepts, that the Torah of Hashem, this Torah of Hashem should be in your mouth, and that you should remember that God took you out of Egypt. These big ideas, these important identity-marking ideas should not only just be circling around in your head, but you should actually be wearing them almost on you, on your living being. They should be a part of you. And that's kind of what tefillin is. We take these words and we're putting them on ourselves. And so, of course, the first pathway within the of tefillin is putting on tefillin. It's a very short and powerful mitzvah to do. You can do it in 5 minutes. Many people just do that, and some people do that and just say the Shema, whatever it is. And in Deuteronomy, this is repeated, this idea of the tefillin. It should be binded on your arm. Again, these parshiot, different parshiot of the Torah. Again, these different parshiot of the Torah should be on your hand. And they should be like a frontlet between your eyes, a symbol or something on your eyes. So we see this concept again later in Dvarim when Moshe is repeating the Torah to Am Yisrael 40 years after the original Mount Sinai experience. Tefillin is powerful when you really think about what you're doing. As I just mentioned, having these core values, these core parshiyot on your body. Not like a tattoo. We can't get tattoos. That's another discussion. The idea behind it, though, is to have your heart on your sleeve. So let's look at the Shulchan Aruch, one of the main Jewish law codes from the 1500s, the Mechaber, we call him, Rav Yosef Karo. So he said, Yachvin behanachasam, shetzavenu kodesh baruch leniach arba parshios. So we have to have in mind, when we're putting them on, that we're commanded to put on 4 parshiot, 4 different parts of the Torah. It's connected to the places that they're located. We'll get into some of that only basically when we talk about the Shema, the declaration of oneness in Judaism, the oneness of Hashem. But there are 4 parshiot. Maybe another time we'll go through all 4 parshiot that we keep and which ones are here and which ones are there, etc., etc. But we want to basically have, what does it say? Yesh b'hem yichud shemo v'yitzias mitzrayim al ezroa keneged halev al rosh keneged hamoach. So these parshiot, some of them came the unity of Hashem, the Yitziat Mitzrayim, that we left Egypt, that this Hashem loves us and is involved in our lives and wants to take us out of suffering. And basically, what do we see? Al Ezroa, the arm, or the Yadecha, the hand, Neged Halev. So the arm tefillin is connected to the heart. The Al Harosh Keneged HaMoach. And essentially, there's this idea that we have the heart connected to the moach, the consciousness, not just intellect, but the higher consciousness, the soul. Also connected, of course, to intellect and how we think and what we meditate and contemplate on. Connected to our heart. We make those deeper ideas that we have and they infiltrate and come into our heart. Tefillin is about the unity between ideas and action and heart. So Rashi just clarifies that when it says yadecha, as we saw, it says your hand. It's really a sign on your arm, which is connected to the lev, as we saw above. And then for the tefillin shabarosh, which is beinenecha, between your eyes, that's the rosh. These are the 2 parts of the tefillin that we put on, and we are trying to connect to a higher level and bring those higher levels and ideas and contemplations into our heart. But we see that it's more than just the heart. It's much more than the heart. It's about taking the higher ideas, putting them into your heart, and then transmitting them into how you live with your full body. And this is why we say in the blessings of the Shema, we basically say to Hashem, Avinu avarachman, Hashem of mercy, tein belibenu lahavin. Bring into our hearts bina, understanding, lahaskil, the ability to differentiate, the ability to have seichel, intelligence, and comprehension. Lishmo, the ability to listen, to understand. Lilmud, to learn. And then ulalamed, to teach. Not only do you want to take your values and get them deep into your heart, but you want to actually learn them and then teach them. When you teach something, it goes even deeper. Lishmor, then you want to guard them. La'asos, we want to do ilakayim, we want to keep et kol divrei tamud toratecha be'ahava. We want to keep the whole Torah, all these values that we put here and here, everything. We want them to infuse our entire life so that they don't just become ideas or they don't just become feelings that we feel and pass. We take those and we make them into actions. And this is really what the tefillin is reminding of. We're wearing our heart on our sleeve. So I heard this from Rabbi Sachs, this incredible metaphor about what the tefillin really represents. So it says in Hosea, one of the prophets, and this is something we say every single morning when we put on the tefillin. Bereshtichli leolam, I will betroth you forever. Bereshtichli betzedek, I will betroth you with tzedek, which is some sort of righteousness, uvemishpat, justice, uvechesed, loving kindness, uverachmim, compassion. You see, those words were connected to what we talked about last time about what it is to be a Jew, connected to the Torah. The sense of righteousness, doing good, being the best people we can be, and also being people of chesed, loving kindness and compassion. Doing the right thing, being firm, being yashar, being as straight as we can, and also being loving and warm and compassion, rachamim, womb-like, rechem. And so we're betrothed to Hashem in this way. Vershtichli be'Emunha, I'm gonna betroth you in Emunha. Avram was all about Emunha. We're all people of Emunha, of faith and faithfulness, loyalty. V'yadates Hashem, and you will know Hashem. We say these words about betrothal. Erusin is what we call it as part of the wedding ceremony we have. It's really a separate ceremony, but today we combine all parts of the wedding. Today we actually combine the Erusin, which is the betrothal, the engagement, with the Nisuin, which is the actual ceremony. But this is about being betrothed, being engaged, being closed into with these values with Hashem and living it with Emunha. And this is how we get to know Hashem. So halachically speaking, and not everybody, there's not the only perspective about how the halacha works here, but that if you write with your left, whatever hand you write with is your dominant hand. So I write with my left hand, even though I play tennis with my right. I play ping pong with my left. It's very interesting. Same sport, but smaller. I rotate those. Hockey with my right, baseball with my right. But I do stuff with my left. I write with my left. I do the writing. So as a halachically, I'm a lefty, which means I put tefillin on my right. So I put vereshtichli all around. I put part of that tefillin, the strap, around my middle finger. And Rabbi Sachs actually says that wrapping the strap of the hand tefillin around the middle finger is like a wedding ring. This tefillin that we put on is reminding ourselves of God's love for Israel and our love for Him. Tefillin is a way to really embody, and live with our values. So just a little bit of a bonus round here, and I think this is a bonus of wearing tefillin at this moment in time. I've heard this somewhere. I don't remember who told me this, but this is an incredibly powerful Masechet Brachot, in the Gemara, in the tractate Brachot. It says, Uminayin she'tefillin ozhim liYisrael. How do we know that tefillin provides strength for Yisrael? How do we know that the tefillin provides oz, this strength? Dichtiv, v'ra'u kol amei aretz ki shem Hashem nikra alecha, v'yar'u mimeka. And all the nations of the land will see that the name of the Shem is called upon you, and they will have yir'ah, they will be afraid of you. So what's taught in a Brisa, Rabbi Eliezer the Great, Rabbi Eliezer Hagadol, says, Elu tefillin shebarosh. Tefillin shebarosh, the tefillin on your moach, the tefillin in between your eyes, bein einecha. That is, when you put that on, that's the fulfillment of the verse, the name of Hashem, because Hashem's names, the names of Hashem are on your forehead. And that creates yir'ah. It gives strength to Israel. We need all the strength we can get. It's like putting on a uniform. It's like being a part of the Jewish army wherever you are. So that is just a little taste of tefillin. Now, there are many mitzvot that are connected to tefillin, and we're going to talk about that because for the most part, men typically wear tefillin. Although there's no halachic prohibition for women wearing tefillin, typically speaking, depending on your community, women are not wearing tefillin. So check with your community. To connect to tefillin, even if you don't put it on, but there are other mitzvot that are connected to tefillin. The most obvious, of course, is the mezuzah. Because in the verse where we learn, one of the verses where we learn about tefillin, ukshartam le'os al yadecha, v'lo tutafos beinecha, putting on the tefillin, the next words are, uchsavtam al mezuzos beisecha uvisharecha. Again, put these different scrolls, parshiot. There are differences between the tefillin and the mezuzah parshiot, but the bottom line is you're putting in verses from the Torah with Hashem's name and the most powerful ideas, and some of the most powerful ideas of being Jewish. You're putting them not only on you through the tefillin, but you're putting it on the front of your home, on the doorpost of your home, and in rooms in your house. We can get into the details which rooms are connected where you put on tefillin. You don't put them in in front of an entrance to a bathroom. The bottom line is, though, this is this idea that you're always putting the values not just internally, not just vaguely and abstractly. They're in the flavor of the world that you are in. They're in the daily life of the world that you're in, your home, your bait ne'eman, your faithful home. So it's really in the house. And Rav Melamed Shlita, one of the greatest poskim, Jewish law decisors in Israel today, who has a very great series called Pnini Halacha, he says, what are we supposed to do? Every time you come into your home and you leave your home, nisbonein, you should contemplate a mezuzah, focus on the mezuzah, v'nizacher shuv b'yesidos emunas Yisrael, and remember all of the foundations of the Emunha, the faithfulness and the loyalty of what it means to be a Jew. It's not enough to just, it's when you leave your house, remember who you are. When you come in, remember who you are. Be a person of complete integrity. And the home is so important. That's where incredible opportunities for spiritual growth are. So we can put them on the tefillin. Every person's home can put them in. And not only just when you look at them, some people kiss them. It's like, I want to live with you. I want to be close to this. I want to have a connection with Hashem, with the people, with all of their values. I want to live. I want to put my heart on my sleeve. That's what mezuzah, that's what the ot of tefillin is all about. And then we have, of course, the Shema. The Shema is the buildup of all of this. And I have kind of not shared too much about the Shema until now, even though it's intimately connected to mezuzah and to the tefillin. Of course, the passage of the Shema is in both of those. The Shema is really the foundation, the essential essence of what it means to be a Jew, and you really learn it on the deepest level. It's about the oneness of God, the oneness and unity of God. It's one of the first prayers that any Jew will learn, and most Jews know them instinctively. And God willing, after 120 years, will be the last words we say. The Shema, the declaration of oneness of creation and all of reality, the most important words, arguably the most important words in our tradition. And before we say the Shema, both in the evening and the morning when we're supposed to say them, the Shema, we start by first contemplating and deeply connecting with Ava Rabba Avtanu, that Hashem loves us, an incredible abundance of love. These are just some of the words that we say in the blessings before. You can see the full blessings in any Siddur. You can see the full blessings, but that we're chosen with love. We're so deeply loved. We want to connect to the fact that we are infinitely loved. The love of a mother to a child is unspeakably beautiful and hard to even fathom. And that love is just a drop in the ocean compared to the love of Hashem for the people. It's our love that we know is just a metaphor for this incredible divine love that Hashem feels for us. And we need to feel that every single day, that we are so loved in this world. And then what we say is the Shema after we remember that we are loved. We say, Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Listen, Yisrael, Hashem is our God, Hashem is one. The oneness of all of reality. And here's just the whole text of it. Baruch Shem Kvod Malchus Olam V'ed is something we say very quietly. We don't say it out loud. That's a whole other discussion. But here's the text of the Shema and why it's connected to Tefillin and Mezuzah. Hafta es Adonai Elohecha b'chol levavecha v'chol nafshecha u'v'chol meodecha. You should love Hashem your God with all your heart, with all your soul, with all of your possessions. Ve'yu ha'devarim ha'ele asher nochim etzavecha hayom al levavecha. And these words that I'm commanding you today, that Hashem is telling you today, should be on your hearts. Vishinantam levanecha. You should teach them to your children. V'dibarta bam, and speak of them. B'shiftecha, b'veisecha, when you're sitting at home. B'shiftecha b'veisecha. Uvelechtecha v'derech, when you're walking on the way. Uveshuchbecha, uvekumecha, when you're sleeping and when you wake up. Every minute of every day, you should know what you're living for. As Rabbi Noach Binyamin always says, know what you're living for. You should always have the consciousness of the love of Hashem, that you are loved, that you should love Hashem, that you should connect to the essence of being a human being, the essence of being Jewish, all moments of all time. There should be an ot. There's that ot. There's that word. The ot al yadecha totafot b'neinecha. That's tefillin. And then mezuzah, uchsavtam mezuzos beisecha v'sharecha, writing them on the entrances of your homes. All of these things is in the Shema. So the Shema is telling you something so fundamental about the oneness of Hashem and the importance of loving God and bringing that all and teaching that and being in that in every moment. And that's where the tefillin and the mezuzah come from as well. We're supposed to say it once in the morning, once in the evening. The parameters of what the halachic boker is, the halachic evening, the erev, that's a bigger discussion. Of course, it's best to say all three paragraphs. There are two other paragraphs of the Shema, but for sure, the first paragraph, or even the Shema itself, is a great start. It's just an incredible way to connect to the deepest words in existence, the ones that we have been saying for forever. So I'm going to share a brief meditation. You can see the link in the video notes. Just a Shema meditation on those first 6 words. Shema, the first one is Shema. Rabbi Sachs talks about all the different meanings that that Hebrew word can have. Shema. Learn, listen, internalize, understand, obey, to hear. Bottom line is, first and foremost, to listen. Listen without, listen within. Shema. To internalize, understand, integrate, connect deeply with. Yisrael. Yisrael is the deepest part of your soul and spirit. It's the individual person is part of Yisrael in the Shema of Yisrael, but it's also the part of you that sings with Hashem in the most real and honest way. Shir Kel, the song of God is within the word Yisrael. Yishar El, going straight and real with Hashem. Listen, Israel, be connected to that deep part of your soul and spirit. Hashem, we say, I'm not going to say it now because when you say this word on the left there, you should say it with the full sentence. But Hashem is what we say when we're not saying that word, that name of Hashem, which isn't the full name of Hashem. We don't say the name of Hashem anymore. We don't actually have access to the full name of Hashem, the real name, Yud Kei Vav Kei. We say the thing on the left. But first is the creator beyond time and space, the presence of infinite love and compassion. Hashem is the Yud Kei Vav Kei, Hoveh, Haya, and Yihiyeh, past, present, and future, all in one. And this presence is the one when Yud Kei Vav Kei is about, as the Kuzari says, Hashem in relationship. It's this infinite love and compassion. Elokeinu is the same gematria as Hateva, the nature, the same math in the Hebrew letters as Hateva, the creator within creation. That this creator of all reality is also within us, within our answers to humanity and all of creation. And there's Hashem again. This Hashem is our God. This Yud Kei Vav Kei is our creator. It cares about this world, is involved in this world. And also this Hashem is Echad, is pure oneness and unity. And this is something that we say is also the whole world is going to know the oneness of Hashem. So that is a little meditation on the Shema. This is the biggest, deepest words. There's more ink spilled on these 6 words than anything probably. It's just unbelievable. But some of the meditations that we just mentioned, Hashem runs the world, Melech HaOlam, Hashem is one, Hashem is infinite, Hashem is within all things, Hashem cares about the world. We must love Hashem, we must teach it to our children, these values. Our actions matter. The second paragraph of the Shema is all about the importance of doing the right thing, that our actions matter, and that we must live and breathe these values everywhere. These are some of the ideas of the Shema. And just a quick bonus. So the last paragraph of the Shema contains another mitzvah. So I'm connecting it there because of mezuzot, because of the ot of tefillin, which is in the first paragraph. So in the third paragraph, it says that you should wear tzitzit. Tzitzit, we see here, these four-cornered garments that have these tassels on them, and we see a little bit of blue. We'll get into that very, very briefly. So tzitzit is another mitzvah that we can connected to the Shema, which is connected to the mezuzah, and of course, the tefillin. So the tzitzis, just very briefly on this, that we're supposed to make tzitzit for ourselves, tzitzit al kantei vigdeim, on the corners of our garments, and we're supposed to put on the tzitzit hakanaf petil techeles, which in recent days, this is a fascinating discovery of an old dye that used to be the blue here. For a long time, they didn't have access to it. We didn't know which type of snail it came from, etc., etc. But today, we actually know in Eretz Yisrael the old ancient techelet. We're supposed to look at tzitzit, just like we talked about with mezuzah in the tefillin, the parshiot. They're supposed to help us live with integrity. We're supposed to look at our tzitzit. Uritemoto iskartem, look at them and remember at kol mitzvahs Hashem, look at all the mitzvahs of Hashem, v'asisem osam, and do them. Ve'lo sasuru achrei levavchem achrei nechem. Don't run after your desires that take you away from your values. Live the life of integrity. Live with the tzitzit. Live with the messages of the mezuzah, the tefillin. Complete integrity. That is so much a part of this ot. And just a brief on the tzitzit that have the techelet. Techelet comes also with the word tachlis, which means purpose, the end goal. When we look at techeles, the blue, there's this very cool thing we see by Rabbi Meir in the Gemara, that when we look at techeles, we're supposed to remember the blue. The blue is going to remind us of the yam. The yam is going to remind us of the rakia, the firmament, the sky. The sky is going to remind us of Hashem. We're supposed to look at things in this world and remember and have us reminding about ourselves, about our ultimate purpose, living with the fundamentals of our Emunha. And tzitzit, similar to tefillin, is mostly worn by men. I'm not going to, again, get into the details of that. Speak to your community. So practically, we talked about mitzvot, tefillin, tzitzit, mezuzah, the Shema. We talked about getting deeper with understanding our Emunha. We're supposed to bring it into our hearts and and live with it, and of course, transmute it to future generations. Vishnantim levanecha, to teach. So that is the second ot, and I hope it was meaningful. We're going to get into the third one. Again, many more mitzvot to connect to identity and to strengthen who we are.